It's the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. You can follow me on Twitter X at the Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Our website with the 24-hour stream is obmradio.com. And without any further delay, we're going to jump right into today's episode. Well, the weekend has finally granted us a weekend of football. And Jackson State comes out of the gate in full throttle, full command, handling South Carolina State with a final score 37-7. No doubt about it, Jackson State was on all cylinders. And I guess that's what happens when you call somebody soft and they make you eat those words. But nonetheless, we'll see how these teams will fare off as they start the journey for 2023. Of course, Jackson State will next start off against FAMU this coming weekend. On the local high school rankings, we had some exceptional football play throughout Waller County, Texas. We'll hear from the three football coaches. Of course, we'll first hear from Theodis Regans of the Royal Falcons. We'll then hear from Waller Bulldogs coach, Mr. Marcus Mendoza, and we'll have a roundup of Mr. Markeith Wesley of the Hempstead Bobcats. But before we get into that, we must acknowledge what a fantastic weekend for the Lady Panthers on the volleyball court. They were in a Stevensville, Texas tournament over the weekend at Tarleton State. They won 2 of the 3 matches. They took care of the whole school, Tarleton, 3-2 sets. Got swept by Incarnate Word 3-0, and then finished strong 3-2 against Northeastern Arizona. So we'll get a chance to catch up with Coach Cherie Lindsay and break a little bread with her on the discussion for things to come in the very near future. The Panthers will be in action this coming weekend at Houston Christian volleyball tournament in Houston, Texas. We know we are moments away from the Labor Day Classic, but we'll talk about that after we hear from our 3 coaches throughout Waller County, Texas on the weekend that was for Waller County High School football.
Welcome back to the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Football season is officially in the atmosphere, and the Royal Falcons are creating some new habits. They say that the third time is a charm, and the Falcons were able to hold off the Colts on Saturday night action in Houston, Texas. We are fortunate to have on the line with us right now none other than Coach Theodis Regans. Coach, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good this morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing real good. Congratulations to you, sir. Gave us a little nail biter, but you guys kind of held it off to the end.
Oh, absolutely. We did, and I told my guys before the game that, had 2 teams that won to win a football game. Actually, last year against this team, we actually beat them pretty handily last year, 49, I think, to 3. And this year, I expected those guys to come in and fight a little harder, and we was on their home turf in Houston, so we expected that. It came down to the end, and we executed at the end and pulled away with the win.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So when we talk about these new habits, this is the 3rd year that you've won that season opener. And it's not where you start, but it's where you finish. But when you're taking over a program that's rebuilding, it's always good to get that initial good start, right?
Oh, absolutely, it is. And, yesterday after the game, some of our guys, put their head down, and I reminded them winning is not easy. A lot of times, a lot of games this weekend, some teams went 0-1. We was fortunate enough to go home with being 1-0.
Yes, sir. So when you give us a recap, Coach, on how this thing came out to what it was and what you got to do to kind of right some wrongs for your next opponent.
We start off pretty good executing both on offense and defensive end. Special teams, well, we was down. We missed 3 extra points. So the game ended up being 18-8 right before halftime. They scored on a long run, and they ended up scoring in the second half. They executed in their run game, and we didn't execute in our defensive game plan. And we had a couple of injuries. Guys were fatigued in the first game, and it's hot summer heat in Texas, so we had to make some adjustments. And again, we finally made those adjustments. Again, we came away to win.
Yes, sir. And speaking of adjustments, this game was originally scheduled for 6. It was pushed back to 7:30, close to 8 o'clock. Are you planning on doing that when you guys play with your home opener this coming week?
We haven't made that decision yet, but with us playing another HISD team, and I think their start time was 8 o'clock on Friday for their team. So my athletic director and HISD athletic director will get together and come up with the time that's best fit for the kids to avoid this heat.
Right. So you open up against Fur, and you have a pretty good track record with Fur as well, right, Coach?
We do. We 1-0 last year against them, and we beat them last year pretty good as well. And I think they're going to come back and try to do the same thing they were, and they be more competitive and get themselves an opportunity to win that game as well.
Yes, sir. Now, we normally have you highlight a couple of players of the game on the offense, defensive side, and special teams, so we're going to let you do that right now, Coach.
So I'm going to start with, I think, who was the most valuable player for us yesterday was Zakai Anderson, our running back. Had 25 carries and ended up with 184 total yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. So he's our standout on offense. Then we had our defensive line, Zachariah Robinson, who was an anchor for us on the defensive line. And, of course, we got a great kicker, and Mauricio Diaz had some touchbacks on the kickoff team, which we wasn't so good with last year. So those are the 3 standouts from yesterday's game.
Well, we want to give a congratulations to those young men and a congratulations to you, Coach, for keeping this train rolling. And we're excited for kickoff this coming Friday that you can listen to the Royal Falcons at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. All you have to do is visit the website at ovnradio.com. Coach, you appreciate a Gatorade bath this time of year, though, huh?
No, you most definitely do. With this hot weather, I think anything with coolness, I think you appreciate it at this point in time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Coach, congratulations again, sir, and we look forward to continued coverage of the Falcons here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Any closing thoughts, sir?
No, we just got to execute and get better, and hopefully we'll be 2-0 the next time I speak with you.
Okay, then. That is Coach Regan of the Royal Falcons. We'll be back with more of the Open Mic Broadcast Network and the Mike Prince Show.
Serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
As we continue on with our Monday morning quarterback, we have on the line with us right now head football coach of the WALLER Bulldogs, none other than Coach Marcus Mendoza. Coach, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. Just still in the office getting ready for this next week's opponent.
Yes, sir. Well, before we get to the next week's opponent, tough loss on Friday at Waller. 21-6 was the final score. What was your recap from your bird's eye view, sir?
Yeah, that one was a tough one right there. When we're looking back at it, how close we were, I know everybody looked at the overall picture of how we looked as a team. You know, overall we were extremely more disciplined than we were the year before. I actually have up the stats and the things that we were able to do last year, just discipline-wise, eliminating self-inflicting penalties by 2/3 going into this year. We're a lot more on our green side on our charts for a season to win. But then just looking at just one right cut and two missed blocks off from the score, or from 21 points just being missed up that we had opportunities to go and score offensively. Defense played lights out. I mean, the 21 points were all on turnovers. One of the turnovers being Brian getting the ball back on the 1 yard line. But the defense played lights out. And then obviously we need to clean up some stuff on special teams with being able to just be able to catch the ball on a kickoff return and a punt return. But just unforced errors on our end. Just looking back at the overall picture, we really just hurt ourselves more than the opponent did, because in almost all the facets we were better than them, and except for those little mental mistakes. I mean, 4 turnovers. 3 of them resulting into them scoring. Those really, really hurt. So we got to clean up special teams, and offensively, we just got to find a way to win. I mean, getting inside the goal line, heck, being inside the 5-yard line 3 times and not coming up with a touchdown. We got to make sure that we execute on our end.
Yes, sir. When you talk about it, the one thing that you mentioned that did stand out was it was pretty much a rather clean game penalty-wise. Especially for the first game of the season. So that's always a good sign of hopefully good things to come. Now, before we focus on this week's opponent, let us go through who you would give your player of the game, offensive, defensively, and special teams for this week.
Oh yeah, for sure. So our offensive player of the game was Brandon Stewart. That kid, he's just a dynamic kid. He's actually having to start on the defense for us because we had one of our safeties unfortunately have an injury in the summer to where he had to step up and step into that role. He should predominantly be an offensive player. That's why we were able to still fill him in. But he was able to come in and give us some light because he's just a blazer downfield. He's very athletic, good hands, and can just make some plays, which he was able to do. And helped us out on both ends of the ball. Defensively, went to Dominic Williams. He's our corner on the left side, 2-year starter. He's just a junior. He was able to lock down their star receiver, I think, for no catches. I have to go back. Maybe one catch. I'm almost positive it's for no catches. He locked that guy down all year, a guy that's committed to go to Texas Tech and did everything right, played very clean on his end there. He also was about to go down. They had to go check him out real quick, but he fought back and said, I'm not coming out of this game, went back in, and then still played lights out. Special teams, we have to give it to Ortiz. We call him Chino, our kicker, obviously having the 2 field goals made, one from 37 yards out, and just was able to give us, again, some light to put some points on the board.
Yes, sir. It's amazing how the kicking game has improved on the high school level. These guys, 37 yards, you might as well call it 57 yards, especially in my day, but it's a good thing of things to come. Now, as you focus for this week, the opponent you have, and what are you going to need to have success this week?
Well, like I said, defense, if they come out the way they did this past game, I have no doubt that they're just going to execute and lock down again. That offense that we went up against was a good offense, like I said, with some dynamic players on there that we were able to hold out. Again, it's hard to look at the end score with it being 21-6 because with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, it was 7-6. You know what I mean? So our defense did their thing out there. What we need to clean up, what we just talked about today, is just special teams. We got to clean up special teams, making sure that we can just be as clean as we can be on there, no unforced errors. And again, we had 2 turnovers. We had 3 turnovers on special teams. Like I said, that resulted into our opponent scoring. Offensively, what I talked about with the guys today, and we're going to focus with them this week, is just finishing our drives. I mean, it's heartbreaking being able to impose our will on our opponent and just run the ball all the way down to the goal line and then not being able to finish. Just maximizing our opponent and the opportunities that we have on top of being able to just finish. I mean, once we got there, we struggled getting in, and there's just a couple of things that we saw on film that was just uncharacteristic of us, of what we've been able to do with our scrimmages, and then even what we've been doing at practice, but getting our kids ready for that big moment, and when that big moment comes, finishing the drives.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, we're looking forward to our continued coverage. As a matter of fact, we were able to present that game live on the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and stay tuned each week with us as we get our weekly updates, reports from Bulldog Country. Coach, any last words before we close this segment out, sir?
No, sir. Just looking for us to come out next week and show our community, our school, our supporters who we really are and what we've been doing throughout the summer, because I really think this group can be a special group. So I'm excited to see how we're able to play this out for the rest of the season.
All right, Coach Marcus Mendoza of the Waller Bulldogs will be back with more on the Open Mic Broadcast Network and the Mike Prince Show.
The voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
And welcome back to the Open Mic Broadcast Network as we continue our weekend wrap-up on the world of Waller County High School football. We have with us now Coach Marquise Wesley. They go to Austin to take on an opponent that I'm going to let him call off again because I keep fumbling the ball. But, Coach, how you doing, and welcome to the show.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Now, that was New Early College, something,
Yes,
Austin?
sir. Yes, sir. Northeast Early College, which is formerly the former Austin Reagan.
Yeah, that's what threw me off there because of all these changes and everything. But whatever the name is, and they could change titles, change location, even change colors. The results stay the same. You guys are victorious on the road. Give us a recap on how things unfolded for you on Friday.
I felt that our kids, came out. We came out a little flat earlier in the game. Learning the expectations of some of the varsity level, which is some of our young kids. Regrouped at halftime. We figured out that we were making our own mistakes. We were kind of shooting ourselves in our own foot. And then came out the second half and done some things, and I saw some wonderful things from our kids, just watching them compete and really learn how to finish a game.
Absolutely, and it's always exciting and encouraging to get that first one out the gate. So that's always a plus as you move forward. And before we go any further on your next week opponent, who would you highlight for your offense, defense, and special team player of the game, sir?
Right now, our offensive player of the game was Floyd Raxton. Floyd, had the highest passing. Right now, he had 4 attempts at 100 yards. Our defensive player of the game was Tristan Taylor, Jr., Calvin Thompson, Jr., excuse me. Calvin finished with leading the team with over 30 tackles. And then our special team was also Floyd Raxton again. Floyd was able to take a punt return back for a touchdown and a kickoff return back. So a very big group effort, but we had some standouts from some wonderful kids that really played really well.
Yes, sir, and that's always electrifying to score on special teams, but to do it twice in one night, man, you need to get that kid to get some lotto numbers, man, so he can try to win that mega box.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, look, as you got this first one under your belt, give us what's the plan of attack to have success on your next opponent, and if there's any updates on the schedule of time of the game for Friday.
Well, right now we are taking on the Bowling Bulldogs at 7:30. Due to the heat, there might be some changes, but as of right now, we haven't done anything as for the time of change. Bulldogs are very well coached, very good rich tradition there. They have had a really good run in the past years. I know last year they were very senior heavy and got a very talented and disciplined running back this year. Our plan is to go out and just kind of execute with our kids, let our kids go out and play Bobcat football. We're going to do things within our realm. We're not going to try and do anything special. Offensively, we want to, put it in our playmakers' hands and let those guys, go out and have fun. Defensively, we're going to line up, be very gap bound, and try to stop their run. They're going to try to pound the ball, which is something that, they're really good at. But we plan to have a good game plan lined out so we can go out and have a good game.
Yes, sir. Break in that new turf you got at Bobcat Stadium, right?
Yeah. Well, we're still with our grass, but we have this year is probably one of the better surfaces in a while. We've done a good job of trying to keep everything lined out. Got good green grass right now, and so the kids are enjoying it. We're not really running around on dirt this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's always good to have that fresh carpet feel, especially when they're hitting as hard as they're doing. And again, congratulations on getting that first win under your belt. Any closing thoughts, sir, before we wrap this segment up?
One of the things, like I always say, we want our fans, we thank those that traveled all the way to Austin. We'd love to see our fans packed this week. Our kids deserve it. They've worked hard. They put in the time, and they would love to have someone there. Familiar faces, just rooting them on.
Yes, sir. Rooting them on, we will, especially here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We're scheduled, whether it's 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, we plan to be there in full effect. Coach, we thank you so much for the time and the opportunity, and we will see you very, very soon. He is Coach Markeith Wesley of the Hempstead Bobcats. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Don't forget, follow us on X, I almost said Twitter, at the Mike Prince Show, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.
And, of course, we do thank all of our coaches and the fan support for our coverage of Waller County, Texas high school football, as well as the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. And speaking of the Panthers, it's crunch time. It is crunch week. The 38th annual Labor Day Classic will take place this weekend from Houston, Texas. We'll be there for the kickoff here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Festivities begin today as the Touchdown Club luncheon in Houston, Texas will start at 12 noon, and all of the events leading up to the kickoff at 7 p.m. Central Time from Houston, Texas. So an electric time in the atmosphere. We'll hear, of course, from Coach Bubba McDowell. We'll hear from defense and offensive coordinators Alvin Fosselman and Mark Frederick as the Panthers get ready for battle in Houston, Texas. And we want to thank you and remind you again for joining forces with us beginning September 1st through the 4th to help us raise the necessary funding to cover our broadcasting expense for the football season. It would greatly help us if you guys would join up with us and make your purchase of some of this double good popcorn that'll be available at our pop-up store on the website obnradio.com. We will have it posted ready to go starting high noon September 1st through the 4th. And don't forget to join in and become a listening partner throughout the entire month of September by joining up on the website at obnradio.com. I must exit stage left. My time is way overspent for today, but we appreciate you so much as always. Don't forget, follow me on Twitter at the Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel you can subscribe to is the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And don't forget, we always have that 24-hour stream at the obnradio.com. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Thank you so much for joining in with us. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.